Hey gamers, Steely here, and we are back with our Hardcore Ironman grind. In the very first episode, I grinded my way to level 43 prayer. It was one of the first things that I did on the account. It was a hassle. It took a lot of effort. I did lose two Hardcore Ironman accounts in the process of trying to do it, but if you want to watch me make some pretty newbie mistakes and see some funny stuff, highly recommend you pop over to that video and check it out. From here, we are going to be continuing on our Hardcore Ironman grind. The goal at this point now is to get myself on the Hardcore Ironman high scores. So in order to do that, I believe we need to get ourselves to a total level of 500, and I am going to just be grinding out a ton of early game Hardcore Ironman tasks. So what I'm going to be using for this is something that I discovered called the Ironman Efficiency Guide. This is a unique little website that I came across that was referred to me by a friend. And in this little website, you can basically follow along with these tasks that will kind of essentially get you through all of the early game nonsense to kind of get your account started. So I will link that in the description below, and I'm going to be using that efficiency guide to kind of help me start off this account and build it up and start getting some things going. So I'm going to be running around doing a lot of tasks and just kind of playing around. But before I do that, I did come across an unusual Ironman moneymaker. In my original video, I had a unique post from one of my viewers regarding something called Eclipse Wines, if I'm remembering correctly. So Spud Chungus left a comment on my Hardcore Ironman Wilderness Rush for 43 prayer that says a few tips. You can bank in the Hunter's Guild. You just need to use the chest and not talk to the dude. So I'm going to go check that out to see if that's the case, because if it was, that would have saved me so much running. Also, in Varlamore, in the Hunter Guild, there is an Eclipse Red Wine. He said Sunset Red, but I did look it up. It is not Sunset Red, it's an Eclipse Red Wine. It's on the top floor that you can collect by hopping around, and then apparently you can sell these in Aldarin for 700 GP each. So I don't know if this is actually real, but if it is, this could be a very cool little early game Iron Man moneymaker. So I'm going to go ahead and head over to Varlamore to explore this and update you guys with what I find out. Okay, here we go. We are here now. I'm going to be so disappointed if I'm actually allowed to use the bank here. Oh, that's so brutal, dude. Oh man, I can't believe that. I think, yeah. Oh well. It is what it is. Okay, live and learn. So yes, you can use the bank here even if you don't have the hunter level. Thank you for putting that in the chat. I appreciate that. That's awesome. I do want to find out about these Eclipse Reds, so we're gonna go ahead and check those out. Apparently they're on the top floor of this Hunter's Guild. So somewhere up here, well, there's some grain. We must not be on the top floor yet. Is there another floor up here? Or maybe I'm in the wrong spot? Oh, I think I see it over there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's over there. And take a peek. Right there. Okay, so there's Eclipse Reds right over there. Let's go pick those guys up and take them over to Aldarin. I am so curious to see. Because, I mean, you can get 700 GP for each one of these. That could be pretty huge. We're going to go ahead and pick up a bunch of the... Oh, somebody else is already hopping around here picking them up. It was there, and now it's gone. Interesting. There must be some truth behind this. We're going to find out. I'm going to scoop up a whole bunch of these, and we're going to take them to Aldarin and see what is what. Okay, there we go. We have a full inventory of these wines. Now, I don't actually know where I sell them in Aldarin. It just says to sell them in Aldarin, so I'm going to go and figure out where that is. We do need some GPs to get across the boat, and then we'll take the wines with us and just run it out. So let's head on over to Aldarin and see exactly how much we're going to get from this. Now, it did take a bit. It took me about 5-ish minutes to collect all the wines. It does seem to be a thing because there was oftentimes I was world hopping and there was no wines there, like somebody had already picked them up. And so sometimes I would find a streak of worlds and it would be really quick. And then sometimes I think I was just following behind somebody else that was also picking them up. So, I mean, keep that in mind. It is what it is. But let's head on over to Aldarin and see where we sell these. Question is, where do you think the wine trader? It must be this guy. Towed over to the wine trader. That makes sense. Woo! All right. Oh, I gotta walk. Dang. Okay, we are here, and let's go ahead and trade Antonius. So he does have some Eclipse Reds here. So I have 480 coins. Go ahead and sell one. 1180. Wow, you do get 700 GP for each one of these wines. What happens if you sell like 5 at the same time? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. We got to be smart about this. We have 26 wines in our inventory at 700 GP each. We should get 18,200 coins if we sell them all at once. I'm just going to sell them all at once to see if you can. This is amazing. Oh, that's so cool. And there's 1,500 in here. So yeah, this is definitely an early game Ironman method for sure. That's kind of awesome. Had I known about this in my previous video, that's kind of sick, honestly. So you could effectively, instead of thieving silk, which is what I did because I didn't know about this, you could just pick up a bunch of these wines, like 2 or 3 inventories, bank them at the Hunters Guild. You could run from the Hunters Guild to pick up the bones. I mean, overall, you'd probably knock like 2 hours off of my time. Like, it took me 7 hours. You might be able to knock a few hours off. This is a really cool thing to know about. I appreciate you for sharing that. That is awesome. This is why I love the community, man. People just coming together, giving me tips and tricks, and all of us get to be better gamers because of it. So that's awesome. I really appreciate you sharing that with me. That is so sick. I will use this for when I need some GPs. This is very helpful. Very cool. But anyways, I don't really need that much GP right now. I might run a couple of these inventories just for, future me. So I have a good stack of these, and then we'll continue on our Ironman grind. But that is very cool. Awesome. Very cool. Okay, now I know I said I was going to go and continue with doing the hardcore Ironman, but because I've found this unusual moneymaker, I was curious, how much GP would you make an hour if you were doing this? Now, it's going to vary a little bit because of the world hopping aspect and like having to find the wines, but I'm going to turn on a little timer and I'm going to do this for a bit and we're going to do some math and see roughly how much GP we think we might be able to make using this little moneymaker. We'll have to factor in the run there, but I'm going to pick up a ton of these and kind of see, I don't know, roughly like what we think for ranges on GP an hour. But this is pretty sweet for early game. Like, I wish I had known about this before I made that previous video, but here we are. We are living and learning. So I'm going to do this, I'm going to test it, and I'm going to come back with some results. Okay, and so a full inventory with world hopping took me just over 5 minutes. Not too bad, but there were times where I would get a streak of, like, I would have a ton of wines in a row and I could just pick them up nonstop every world. But then there'd be times where I'd hop like 3 or 4 worlds and I just happened to be crossing over with somebody else that was picking them up. And then it would just be like picking up nothing for a minute. So I think 5 minutes is a safe bet per inventory. And then if you had to factor the runtime and the runtime to sell them, we'll figure out what that equals. And then we'll come up with a like GP per hour for this method once we kind of get a few inventories. So I'm going to keep collecting some of these, and then, that way we can get some nice early game cash in this account. And we'll come up with a rough estimation for how much GP an hour we think we can get out of this. There's another inventory done in about exactly 5 minutes for that one as well. So, I mean, 5 minutes might be a pretty safe bet for filling an inventory. Because again, I was encountering a lot of people picking them up. I found like 5 or 6 other players that were all picking up these wines. So this is definitely a known method. I am kind of surprised I didn't know about it, but I feel like it's one of those things that, like, if you're not an Ironman, why would you ever do this, you know? Unless there's botters out here, you know, little bot farms that picking up stuff. I think I might be following behind a guy that's doing it right now. I just saw him, but I don't know, it's kind of neat. 5 minutes, 5 minutes for an inventory. You get 20K in inventory. It's not bad. It's not a bad money maker, but we'll keep on grinding and come up with some numbers. Ooh, man, that inventory was significantly slower than my first two. We are now almost 20 minutes in. We're 18 minutes in, and we've done 3 inventories. For that one, my timing, I just kept following behind somebody, I think. So I tried hopping to like really different worlds to see if that fixed it. It kind of helped, but I think realistically, like a safe bet would be between 5 to 6 minutes in inventory, depending on how lucky you get in your world hops. Which means you could average around 200K an hour using this moneymaker. Granted, you will need a little bit of extra time to sell them. But yeah, I mean, it's not too bad considering there are no requirements to it. You don't have to do anything. The only thing you really need to do is Children of the Sun quest, which, I mean, it's kind of an easy quest to do. It takes no effort. And then you can come here and go ahead and farm this. So in terms of an early game Iron Man moneymaker, this is pretty sick. I do like it. I do like it. I am going to finish out the hour just to see, because I'm 20 minutes into it anyways, so I might just finish out the hour to see exactly how much I make from this. And then yeah, kind of carry on my grind once I have a good stack of GP. That's going to allow me to do a lot of stuff early on, pay for a few things, kind of work my way through the early game, try and get some magic and stuff so I can teleport. That would all be really, really helpful. All right, and we have collected a ton of these wines. And now we're going to head back over to Aldarin and sell them off. It took a little bit of time. We are now just at about 55 minutes. I figured to leave myself about 5 minutes to actually sell the wines because I'm going to have to run, you know, back and forth between the bank. And then I'll know roughly how much GP an hour you can expect from this very simple early game Ironman method. So we'll go ahead and dive into this and sell these off and kind of see where we end up. So my previous cash stack as of this moment is 22,430. And we're going to sell off all these wines. We got exactly 227 plus another inventory, so like 254 wines, which should be a fair chunk of GP. And we're going to see if we can get a good readout for roughly how much you can expect per hour. There we go. There is our last inventory of wines sold off. So right around the hour mark, 1 hour, 1 minute. So we go ahead and pause the timer here at 1 hour and 1 minute in. And all things considered, pretty good harvest for GP. We got 254 wines, which worked out to just over 177K GP, which is pretty solid for an early game Ironman method. So if you're looking for something to make a little bit of extra GP, to kind of help you out initially, this is a fantastic way to do it. So shout out to Spudchungus for throwing this down in the comments on my video. I really appreciate it. This is sick. So yeah, you can average, I would say, if you have a little bit of a rougher time picking them up, maybe as low as 150K GP. And if you got lucky with your, you know, your harvesting of these wines, you might be able to do 200K GP an hour with this little early game Ironman method. So yeah, definitely check it out. It's super worthwhile, and I think it's going to really help me out with getting this account kind of started and in the right direction. So huge, massive, massive way to start off the account, and I'm super pumped. So let's get back into the Hardcore Ironman grind now that we have tested this out. And yeah, big appreciation to Spudchungus for throwing that down. That's it for this part of this episode. I really just wanted to test out that cool Ironman money-making method. So I will throw this guy together, and in the next part, we will start actually getting into the early game Hardcore Ironman grind, trying to set up this account right, and proceeding with the next steps now that we've got our lovely 43 prayers. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Good luck, gamers.